Welcome to Life in 2046. Today we're going to be talking about business success in a rapidly changing technological environment. In order to be successful in the new environment, a business has to have all four pieces of the foundations of success. The first one is technology aware. It's no longer enough just to rely on what you hear from other companies and other sources. You must have a deep understanding of what's going on and what's coming in the technology area. Second is AI adoption. You need to start getting AI in your organization now and figuring out how it can help you and what it can do to you. Next is constant rethinking. We need to be able to look at our organizations and think and rethink how everything is operating and figure out places which we can make changes that'll be more successful utilizing the new technologies. And finally, thinking about it is great, but you've got to execute. We've got to do it right in order to be successful. It's important to understand that this is not an option. This is not something that you have the ability to say, we're going to do it or we're not going to do it. If you don't do it, the world will pass you by, your competitors will take market share, and you'll be in trouble. On the other hand, if you do this stuff and you do it well, you have the ability to take the market share and increase your success rate astronomically over the coming 20 years. Now we'll look beyond the catchphrases into what you actually have to do to be successful. First is technology aware. Understanding the technological landscape is no longer optional. It's the foundation upon which all modern business strategy is built. There is no business strategy without the technology component. That's the way the world is now, and it's getting even more that way as time goes on. The technology is becoming the driver of business in so many ways. And if you do not adopt the fact that you have to have a substantial technology component in your business strategy is certainly doomed to failure. So, how do you do that? First, trend sensing, proactively monitoring emerging tech before it disrupts the market. You need to have the ability to do the trend sensing either within your organization or utilizing external resources who can provide this information to your firm. It's not good enough to just read information and what comes across the wires, etc. You must be able to find out detailed information and get input from people who are deeply knowledgeable about the use of these technologies and what will and won't work. A lot of times, what you're trying to do is you're trying to identify a technological opportunity well ahead of your competition. That is something that requires not only the ability to understand the technology, but the foresight and the creativity to come up with a new approach and abandon old habits. That's how you get ahead of your competition. Trend sensing should be done at a very high level in your organization. If your organization is big enough to have a true chief technology officer with a great deal of experience and insight, that's the way to go. If you're not large enough to afford a good one, then you clearly should utilize outside resources who can provide this information and suggestions to you. Next is infrastructural agility. Your infrastructural agility basically says that you can change what you're doing and how you do it. You need to ensure that your hardware and cloud stocks are ready for scale. If you're tied up in old technologies and have massive investments in those old technologies and do not have the ability to change and modernize how you're doing things, it will become very difficult, if not impossible, for you to make the changes necessary. Some industries are based on technologies that date to the mid 1950s. That's going to be really difficult to get up to speed when one of the participants in the industry breaks out and does something totally different. You need to see to it that you're building your infrastructure in such a way as it has the agility to change and move with different needs. And finally, literacy. You want to build a workforce that speaks the language of modern digital tours. You want your people throughout the organization at all levels to have understanding of the technologies you're using and what they can and cannot do, not only just how to do them in their daily jobs, but a complete understanding of the technology. They're in a position to not only do their jobs, but give feedback to management about what's working, what's not working, what the customer base is liking, what they're not liking, and how you can go about improving your position in the marketplace. Next is artificial intelligence adoption. The first piece here is process automation. This is integrating artificial intelligence to handle repetitive tasks, freeing up human capital for competitive problem solving. So you're going to have artificial intelligence running as part of your operational systems, driving the machines that are performing most of the repetitive things that have to be happening. And this frees up cost and it frees up people to do other things. In addition, while it's doing that, it can provide information for improvement of that process. Second is predictive insights, using machine learning to forecast market shifts and customer behavior with surgical precision. Artificial intelligence can be embedded in your systems, such as we were talking about in process automation, but it also is a tool for people to use to gather more and better information and provide them with insights that help them make better decisions about the company, its products, its market, and its future. Finally, is cognitive teaming. You can merge human intuition with LLM, which stands for large language model capabilities, to accelerate content and code generation. So you basically, people and their intuition can be put in with the artificial intelligence, gathering information from the large language models, and that'll then automatically creating new content and new computer code to improve the operation of the company. The next is constant rethinking. This is basically iterative evolution in order to strengthen your company. The status quo is the enemy of survival. Constant rethinking requires a cultural commitment to questioning every process and product. A lot of big companies these days expect workers to basically perform their jobs and limit the feedback coming from them and don't expect questions from the bottom up about how things are being done. This needs to change. The rethinking should happen at all levels of the organization, and the organization needs to be prepared for it and needs to create a culture that demands everyone do this. By fostering an environment where failure is a data point rather than defeat, organizations can pivot with the speed of software. You have the chance to make changes in how you're doing things and who you're going after, etc. You need to be able to do that. But if you can't face the fact that something isn't working, you will never get the information you need. The last one is flawless execution. I don't know about you, but it drives me crazy that today's systems are so poor pretty much across the board. It is amazing that at this day and age, people's operating systems can go down in the middle of the day and nobody can do whatever transactions they want to do. This has got to cost a lot of lost revenue. It drives me crazy that the systems don't work the way they're supposed to work. They take you to some page that doesn't exist. They have errors built into them. They have no way to execute some portion of a transaction. It's just nuts. And it's going to get a lot worse if those things aren't corrected. As it says here, strategy is useless without the ability to execute. This pillar focuses on turning vision into tangible results with zero friction. in order to make it all work, you have to have rigorous standards. You have to actually test your systems and you have to test them extensively. AI can assist you in doing much more extensive tests than you might be able to set up with just the human intervention. Second, you have to have accountability. Who's responsible for creating systems that are up and operating and keeping the systems up and operational? And third, a continuous loop so that you actually get, accept, and have the ability to deal with feedback about what's working and what's not working. It's astonishing to me that systems go down for one of my favorite suppliers pretty regularly. They're getting a little better, but they talk to their local stores and there is no feedback possibility for them to get the information that the systems are failing. You have to have the 99.9% operational precision. People are going to get a lot better at this stuff. And if you're not a lot better at this stuff, you will lose the market that you've worked so hard and spent so much money trying to build. So there it is, the necessary steps to achieve success in the new world. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be extremely expensive, but most of all, it's going to take a massive culture shift in order for companies to succeed in this new technologically based environment. Thanks for watching Life in 2046. Be sure and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You will find interesting topics about other things that are going to be changing in the near future. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please be sure and email us at lifein2046@gmail.com.